The question is, how can you be the master of who you are? You want to be a master of your life. So how can you be? So here's the dialogue I did. First question, how do we become the master of our mind? You being the mind in this case. Answer, let the laws of nature or the laws of universe to be the master. Why is that? Because the law of nature or the law of universe is manifesting everywhere, and you, me, everything is a manifestation of the law of nature or laws of universe. Right? So you have that as the core of your being, then you find that the law of nature, the laws of the universe, be the master. Now you may ask the question, how do you find that? The answer will be simple. You take the refuge in the laws of nature. Another question, how do you do that? Answer, you ask me how? Stay out of your mind. If you want to be the master of your mind or yourself, know that the master is not in the mind or yourself. Unless within yourself you find the laws of master manifesting. What does that mean? I think you want to find the answer by yourself, but just one more round. What I can say is that within the mind and in your construct, mind is just a limited space with words and logic. And that's not everything. After whoever left the Garden of Eden and started to pick up the words and the logic, you play with it. So it's additional toy to play with, and you get tangled up. Right and wrong, life and death, beautiful, ugly, all of that, and want to do something about it, which may have some value to extend your life, possibly, to survive to a degree. And you can play the game, but you may also tangle up in the game. So be careful about how to use the mind. And that's why Eckhart Tolle, for example, says the power of now, or be aware if you are aware. And what it means, be aware, it means you know what's going on and you don't argue with it, because that's manifesting the law of nature. If you start to play with the law of nature, you get tangled up. You keep playing the game, that's fine, but it's limited in the mind space. And if you're happy in there, that's fine, but eventually, sooner or later, just like kids growing up and find the toys broken, and his desire doesn't work because there's mommy and the society and all the limitation. So you find a way to use the mind to navigate, but that's in the space of words, logic, all of that. But that's not the whole of it. There's much bigger, infinite universe out there, and there's infinite wisdom beyond your wisdom manifesting in nature, which you have only small view of it. So why do you fight against the big infinite wisdom with your small view? small wisdom. As children, or when you're a child, you learn how to deal, more or less. As you're an adult, you're still playing the game until you die. There's a limitation. And if you don't find the limitation, just play the game. But the limitation often will lead to your suffering. Then you start to look beyond the mind. Who is the master of the mind? That was the question. So read what I said and find the way to connect to the law of nature. I said it somewhere that melting in nature is the way. Maybe I said in different ways. But Eckhart Tolle's way of power of now lead to the same conclusion in my view, which need to be not verified with the mind, but in our life. No matter how much we talk, it doesn't go much farther than in the space of the mind, playing with the words and the logic. And eventually you hit the wall. So you can sleep and do something else and may play the game in a different way, but you're still playing in the small space of the mind. Until we realize that, until we face the suffering that you cannot get away so far as you're playing in the mind, maybe it's natural to play the game continuously. So there's a choice. And what I'm sharing here, which is the same question to myself, to make sure that I know the structure of the mind, space, universe, wisdom, limitation, all of those, and connect to the root of who we are. In Shin Buddhism, we talked about Amida Buddha. Find Amida as your refugee, replacing you by Amida, which is the same as the law of universal compassion to save you. So that's one way. In Vipassana I went through, they focus on breathing, inner body sensation, which Eckhart Tolle talk about too. And that's the connection to what's manifesting beyond the mind. So it's out there or down below within us, Buddha nature or law of nature, whatever you call it, that if we can find the opening and connect to it by not using the mind, let go of your mind, then you may find the solution, that you had the solution. I think this may sound like a Zen Koan, but I think it's maybe worth to spend a little time on this, or a long time on this, depending upon how we do this. Thank you.